Well, the rug is back because sound quality sucks. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and I'm so sorry about all the audio stuff that's been happening. The office is a bunch of hard surfaces, and actually I'm gonna have to probably get really close to the mic and speak kind of low and ASMR-like. I've tried my best and nothing can get rid of this echo. So we have the lovely rug back. Yeah. I need some padding in this room, and I can't put anything on the walls, so yeah, here we go. So I figured that instead of doing the book tag that I really wanted to do, we're gonna do a wrap-up today, and yeah, because I haven't done one of those in a while, and I kind of forgot. So the first one I want to talk about was something that I had mentioned back in February, March, and that was A Torch Against the Night. I hadn't quite finished it, but I wanted to mention it because it seemed like it was going to be kind of a 3-star read for me, and it did end up being a 3-star read. I do feel like I have a little bit better understanding of Bloodstrike, and she really saved the whole thing for me. Really, I mean, I'm still not a fan of Laya. For same reasons, there's really nothing new. I kind of sort of knew where Elias's story was gonna go, I want to say even halfway through. There were no surprises there, not really. I liked the adventure, I liked the writing. It wasn't the strongest book to me, so I gave it 3 stars. I kind of feel bad giving it 3 stars because I did enjoy myself, and I'm going to read Reaper at the Gates, and I'm very much looking forward to whenever the 4th book comes out, but it's very middle of the road for me still. The next one I want to talk about is Into the Drowning Deep, and this was a 4-star read for me. Oh my gosh, how do you even start with this? It was so good in my opinion. It was everything that I ever wanted from a modern mermaid story. It was science fiction horror, but I mean technically they're mermaids or sirens, so it's technically delving into a little bit of more fantasy. It was just so good. I liked the diversity of the characters. I like that people's disability really sort of worked in their favor. It didn't hinder them at all. There were issues surrounding disability, mental illness, and whatever that were not so much debilitating as they were just sort of facts of life. They were written really, really well, and in some cases it actually helped them survive and really take control of their situations. Nothing was taken for granted. I don't know, I feel like not enough people are talking about this. It was really good. It's not something that I would have thought to pick up, and it's not something that I think everyone would love. It sort of surprised me because there are interludes of research papers, interviews, university lectures that were interspersed between chapters, and that's not something I typically go for, but because I did this on an audiobook, it was easier for me to digest. The only reason why I didn't give it a 5-star was because of the ending. It wasn't so much that I was disappointed as I felt it was a really fast descent into the end, and I felt like it could have been drawn out a little bit longer. But if that doesn't bother you and you would like to read something that's very different from a lot of other things that are out there right now, I would definitely say Into the Drowning Deep, hands down, yeah, I loved it. Next, Girls of Paper and Fire, which I did with Bookworm Heath. I apologize for things in the background, I can't help it. So yes, Girls of Paper and Fire. I did this with Bookworm Heath for Zodiac-a-thon. This is a while ago, and it ended up being a 3-star read, but that's sort of a reluctant 3 stars. I feel like 2.5 is too little, 2.75 is too little, 3 is kind of unearned. I found a lot of things to be sort of problematic, and it felt like anime met Chinese court drama, and you smushed it together and you got this, and throw a little bit of LGBT in there, and that was Girls of Paper and Fire. I was here for the sort of anime-esque demons, half-demons, humans interacting sort of thing. I quite like that. I want to write something in sort of like that myself, but it felt like it was more for the aesthetic. There was no impact really. It was a very classist system. I have a problem with the casts, the way that they are labeled, mostly because when we talk about the paper cast, which is the human cast, it ends up being tricky with the language. So, we talk about paper being a cast, you wear a paper, they are paper girls, but then we're also talking about paper like paper. And that doesn't work the same with Moon or Steel, as they are labeled such. Further, I don't see really the connection or disconnect between Moon, Steel, and Paper. They seem like very different things, and I don't think that they really accurately portray these different casts. Further in that, the romantic relationship between the main character and essentially the action-y heroine of the whole thing feels kind of forced. It's the shortcut of, we looked at each other and suddenly there was a spark. It's not quite like that, but it is that shortcut. And I don't feel like it was really earned. Also, the twist at the end was not very earned. The court drama aspect was sort of keeping me going, because I have a guilty pleasure of enjoying Asian court dramas, but I don't know if I really wanted it in book form, and certainly not in this particular way. It fell flat for me. I can see why people would enjoy it. I also can see, well, obviously I can see why people didn't really like it either. It's 3 stars. I don't recommend it, sadly, because I kind of had high hopes for this book. I had heard, there were a lot of aspects of this book that I thought I would really enjoy, and it just didn't end up being that, unfortunately. Next is one of the best reads of the last couple months, and that is Vicious. I devoured this so quick. I had it on audiobook, and everything about this was what I wanted. It was tight, it was succinct. I loved the going back and forth between present day and the past, when the 2 main characters were in university. Everyone had a purpose. Nothing felt forced. I felt like it was a little strange, the character development in the past, and how the friendship took a turn. But oh my gosh, it was exactly the revenge story that I wanted. I loved the discussions about God and purpose and science. It was wonderful. Everyone was a villain in some way, which was interesting and good. I love it when, characters have these gray tones, and everything was gray, if not completely black. I was so happy. I definitely would recommend. Again, it was a 5-star read. I do want to get to the other book in the series. I think there's only 2. There might be 3. I'm not 100% sure on that. But also, it really got me into V.E. Schwab, which this was the first book that I read of her, and I know that the Near Witch has been resurrected. I'm interested to get that at some point, maybe actually get a physical copy of that, because some of those copies that I've seen online just look so beautiful. Next up is The Wicked King, and I don't know how I felt about it exactly. I gave it 4 stars, and I guess I'm okay with that. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I just really wanted to see Jude suffer, which is terrible. But I don't like Jude. I don't like Carden. I don't like them together, except for the fact that it perpetuates Jude's suffering. I am a terrible human being. But I liked this adventure more than The Cruel Prince, and I think it has more to do with the fact that Jude was not just, I don't want to say she was a passive character, because she wasn't a passive character necessarily in the first one, but she was much more naive. Things were happening to her rather than her really doing things. She was a very reactionary character. Here, she is very active. In fact, she's pretty much holding the entire kingdom together. I'm okay with that. I'm actually 100% on board with her kidnapping and subsequent torture. And not because I enjoyed her suffering in that. I actually was rooting for her at that point. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a terrible person. I really enjoyed having her struggle, because at some point it started to affect her character and develop her, and it made her seem a lot more developed than she was ultimately. I am curious about what's going to happen next, and I probably will end up reading the next book. I still enjoy Holly Black's writing. It's just the character is just not my cup of tea. Spoiler alert. But if you have read it, then you know that technically Carden and Jude are married, and this also means that Jude is Queen of Fairy, and there's nothing that can break that except death. And I want to know what this is all doing and going and how that's happening. I don't know. Next one that I ran through it really quick was Clash of Kings. This was in April, so I'm finally current. But Clash of Kings was it was a 5-star read for me, but that was mostly because I enjoy the show, or I have been enjoying the show up until this season. I had clear pictures of everything. I do really enjoy George R.R. Martin's writing. The twists and turns or whatever, like it's not like I didn't know that they were coming, but I felt wrong giving it 4 stars. I didn't find anything too terribly written or terribly thought out or plotted or anything. Still does feel like a lot of setup for other things that will happen in the future. So it wasn't like the most exciting book, but the political intrigue was there, and I kept on wanting to, you know, see what was going to happen next. And I did feel that way about the television series as well. So I felt like, considering it's still in that setting up phase for bigger things to happen, I gave it 5 stars. It was a great setup. It still kept my attention. Overall, I thought it was good. And now we get to the first book of this year that I have DNF'd, and that is Winterloon. I've spoken about this before, where it's really depressing, and I've had to take it like 15-20 minutes at a shot because I can't just blow through it. This poor kid, the main character, is... I feel so bad for him and what he's been through, what he's going through, like the whole thing. And nothing can go right for this kid, and I want him to be happy. I want him to have a lovely life at the end of this, or to come to some revelation or something, but oh my god, there's so much going on with this. It's relentlessly harsh on this character that you are supposed to love and root for, and he's at this point that I stopped, he's a confused teenager who lost his mother and has been abandoned by his dad, and whose grandparents, who he doesn't really know, are just terrible shit people. The only thing good in his life he's ruined because he's emotionally scarred. There's so much to unpack with this, and I couldn't do it anymore. It is a beautiful book. It is so well written. My heart is just heavy thinking about it, but I couldn't finish it. I don't know if I could recommend it to anybody, and because I didn't finish it, I don't have a rating for it, but I have a lot of feelings about Winterloon. I don't know if I'll ever pick it up and finish it because it was that heavy, but I mean, it's there for if and when I ever do feel like I can pick it up. For now, it is DNF'd, and I think for good. And finally, we get into my actual May reads. So this is Editor Yumi, and I think I'm going to actually skip a lot of my May reads because it's wrapped up in the Asian Readathon, and I want to do a separate video for Asian Readathon. So I will talk about The Savior's Champion because I finished that, but that'll be it. So, and the last one is The Savior's Champion. I started it before the Asian Readathon. I stopped it for a week and then I picked it back up. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoy Jenna Moresi. She's the reason why I started the AuthorTube end of things, and I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. I enjoyed all the action sequences. She is amazing with action. Like, oh my god. And I really did enjoy the budding love interest between Tobias and Layla. It was good. However, the twist at the end, I saw coming like 20 miles away. It wasn't a surprise, and the wrap up to everything felt a little fast in my opinion. And then there were a lot of convenient interruptions, like, you know, they're just about to kiss and then there's a convenient interruption. They're just about to confess something to the other person and then there's a convenient interruption, and I was a little tired of it by the end. I do want to read whatever's coming next. I know that she is currently working on The Savior's Sister. I am curious to see what was going on behind the scenes rather than the almost near pointless violence and deaths of like 18 or 19 men. Yeah. So I'm curious to see that, and it is setting up for sequels other than The Savior's Sister, because I think The Savior's Sister is actually going to be going back and telling the story, the other side of the story, throughout the tournament. So yeah, that's kind of it. Well, that was like 2.5 months worth of wrap up because I keep forgetting to do these. I don't know why. I'm always like, what am I supposed to do next? What am I supposed to do next? And I'm like, why don't I just recount what I've done or say what I'm going to do? Like, 5-paragraph essay. So here we are. At the end, I don't think I was satisfied with what I was reading. April was just not a good reading month for me generally. Honestly, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Winterlume just had me in a rut. I didn't want to pick up anything after that. It was hard for me to feel any joy after reading like 10 or 15 minutes of that. I feel like the Asian Readathon has kickstarted me into a better reading habit, except for the fact that now I really feel like I need to work on my writing because that's been pushed aside for way too long. So I'm going to be working on the writing end a lot. I don't know, I think I might start doing some AuthorTube discussions and whatnot. I do want to continue to do my Writing 100 series because I think that is important for both readers and writers to understand. So yeah. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below if you haven't already for content that will be better than this at some point in time. Share this video. We're slowly getting to 100. I love you all. Thank you so much. Leave a comment down below what you thought about my really long wrap up and which one was your favorite or least favorite, because I feel like on some of these I was really kind of harsh and some of these I really didn't feel like perhaps I gave them a fair 5 stars because I was biased. Thanks so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, bye!
She said it will never go away. I know there is nothing left to say. Can we try to hold on just for now, even if we don't know how to show them what we're all about?